Training jiu-jitsu is 100% incredibly demanding mentally and physically on our body. But honestly, after teaching and training now for over 13 years, the mental aspect is one of the hardest things to get right in the jiu-jitsu training. 100%. Physically, it's going to be tough, it's going to be grueling, and it's going to take an impact on your body. But really understanding what is the important mindset to set yourself up for lifelong success in jiu-jitsu is incredibly challenging. So in today's video, I want to cover 6 important mindsets that I really think jiu-jitsu students need to have in order to be staying on the mat long-term and to maybe become a black belt one day. So stick around, settle in, we're going to talk about it right now. Thanks to you returning and new subscribers to the channel recently. I greatly appreciate all your guys' support. The channel's been growing a lot. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you guys hit that bell icon so that way you know when the latest video comes out and you get notified right away. So I've been training jiu-jitsu now for over 13 years and I've been teaching for over 11. So I've seen a lot of people step on the mat, but I've also seen a lot of people never return back onto the mat. And there are so many obstacles that get in our way of training jiu-jitsu long term, but one of the big ones is the mindset. And as I sit back and reflect about my own journey to black belt and also talk with a lot of other students or my other instructor friends and what they have seen to be the most important things, I've really kind of boiled it down to that there are really 6 kind of mindset ideas that students need to adopt in order to train jiu-jitsu for lifelong if that's a goal that you have. So these mindsets are going to be the white belt mindset, the 1% mindset, the quitting mindset, the imposter syndrome mindset, the ownership mindset, and then last but not least, the radical accountability mindset. So let's get started with the white belt mindset. If you're a white belt, some of you have no other mindset but this. But ultimately, as you start to progress into jiu-jitsu, the biggest belt that students start to quit at or they start to get most frustrated at is not at white belt, but is at blue belt. There's this thing called the blue belt blues that a lot of times students will experience. They could experience it usually after they've been a blue belt for about a year or a little bit deeper into their blue belt journey. So the idea is that the reason why students experience the blue belt blues, in my opinion, they have raised their own expectations and they are putting too much pressure on themselves and they feel like they're not progressing and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that there's blue belt and they're supposed to be holding this rank to a high standard, but yet a white belt comes in and maybe gives them a hard time. Having this white belt mindset throughout your jiu-jitsu career is extremely important in order for you to stay on the mat long term. There are a couple key fundamental ideas about this white belt mindset. One of the first one is that you need to be absolutely curious and open-minded to what you're learning. We often get kind of tunnel vision whenever we first start training jiu-jitsu. You know, my instructor says to focus on X, Y, and Z things. Don't worry about anything else. And we get such tunnel vision or such buy-in to whatever I'm being taught. Over time, my mindset about what I should learn becomes very closed. And so having that open-minded idea, being curious, just because you're a blue belt or you're a purple belt, if another blue or purple belt maybe does something differently, don't just shut that down. You might be able to actually learn from them. One of my favorite things to do is that I'm a black belt, I'm a first degree black belt, and I have brown belt instructors that teach underneath of me, but they're studying other things. They're going to different seminars. You know, I can't be only over their training. They're definitely learning from other influences. Is I will actually take one of their classes. They will teach maybe an advanced class and I will take one of their classes to be exposed to a new idea. This builds cooperation between both of us. Maybe if I see how they're doing it, we get to exchange ideas. I'm like, hey, why are you doing it like this? This is how I do it. And we get to piece together and help bring each other up. So having that white belt mindset of being curious and open-minded is super important for the rest of your jiu-jitsu career. You will start to kind of get more closed-minded actually as you start to climb the ranks and think that the way that you're training is the only way, everyone else's way is stupid and dumb. The next idea about the white belt mindset is having white belt expectations. Think about it. When you were a white belt, what was your expectation? That you just wanted to come in, you wanted to have fun, you wanted to learn some cool stuff, and you just wanted to be better than you were the day before. That's super crucial if you're wanting to be in jiu-jitsu for a lifetime. Because if you put all the extra pressure, you try to hold yourself up to these standards, and you try to achieve all these goals that are unrealistic at an unrealistic time, then you forget about the reason why you started jiu-jitsu. So have that white belt expectation throughout the rest of your career. The next big one is about the 1% mindset. Now, the 1% mindset is an interesting term because the 1% just means that if you guys could improve just 1% every day and you only trained 1 day a week, you would then get 52% better. If you do 2 days a week, I think it'd be 104% better. If you did 3 days a week, it would be something like 156% better. All you have to focus on whenever you're training jiu-jitsu is getting 1% better. I will bet my entire life savings, which is not much because I'm a jiu-jitsu instructor, that you will get more than 1% better when you step on the mat. And the reason why I know this is because you guys are paying for this as an extracurricular activity. No one pays for something as an extracurricular activity and doesn't give an effort that they want to do it, or else they wouldn't be there. But your expectation and what you should shoot for is 1%. So if I'm training and I did 4 rounds of training tonight, I feel like I didn't tap anybody and I just got smashed the whole night. Did you learn one thing? Did you learn that you could have turned on your side sooner? Did you learn that you could have tucked your chin a little bit earlier? Did you learn that you should have gone for this when you should have gone for that? Having that 1% mindset combining with the white belt mindset is super crucial. The next big mindset that you have to adopt is the quitting mindset. Now, I know that sounds a little odd because the whole goal of this video is hopefully you don't quit to get you motivation and set you up for not quitting. Understand what I mean by the quitting mindset is that at some point in your career, you will think about quitting. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know I thought about quitting around my blue belt career. I had just finished college and I was trying to weigh all my options. Was I going to move? I was about to get married. Should I dive into a job? And is that going to take away from my training? Maybe I should just back off training. So there will be multiple times in your career that you will think about quitting. Just know that it will creep into your mind. So I know some of you guys that are like passionate white belts right now, or the person that just started jiu-jitsu, you're like, I absolutely won't quit. There's no way I will quit. You will think about quitting. What I like to ask students is when they're thinking about quitting, answer these questions. Get a little piece of paper out right now, write these down so you guys can remember them. And the next time you're thinking about quitting, open up your phone and answer these questions. The first question is, why do you need to quit? What's the purpose of quitting? What are you going to accomplish if you quit? Have you exhausted all of your resources to solving that problem? The next one is, have you actually talked to someone about quitting? Have you actually gone up to your coach and said, Coach, I'm really struggling and I'm thinking about quitting? Or have you gone to a training partner and asked that question? A lot of times when we are under the microscope and we're looking at something and it's so close to our face right here, the answer is just off to the side, but someone else might need to point it out from the outside. So make sure you're asking all of those questions. So if you guys are liking this type of video right now, make sure you leave me a comment down below. Tell me what factors have almost driven you to quit. Have you ever thought about quitting? What is your biggest worry about quitting jiu-jitsu? Or why do you actually want to train for lifelong? What are the benefits that you're trying to get out of it? So let me know down in the comments below. The imposter mindset. Just know that even black belts sometimes feel like they're an imposter. You know, I'm a first degree black belt and there are times that I'm training with my training partners or my students and I have a blue belt who is very salty and I had to throw everything but the kitchen sink at them to get them to tap or to get to control them or to try to dominate. I feel like I'm an imposter now because I had to work extremely hard against a blue belt. Maybe I'm not a black belt. Maybe I'm not actually worthy of this rank. Maybe I'm not this. Maybe I'm not that. The blue belt blues is usually what happens to students a little bit earlier in their career. I have a whole video where I talk about that more in depth, so you guys can check that out right here. I would say that you're probably going to have the imposter syndrome once or twice, at least at every belt, because what happens is you're comparing yourself to the students who are underneath of you. If I'm a purple belt, I'm comparing myself to the blue belts who are underneath me. And since I have the purple belt around my waist, if this blue belt's giving me a hard time, I start doubting my purple belt. And same thing with brown belt and same thing with black belt. The imposter syndrome will happen. But just have that mindset. There is a reason why you're promoted to that rank. There's a reason why your instructor gave you that rank. That means that they actually think that you are that rank. So stop self-doubting and have some confidence in your own ability that you've been able to accomplish something, and you should be very proud of that. The next thing is the ownership mindset. Stop putting 100% of the responsibility and the power onto your training partners or coaches. This is often where I see students start to shift the blame to other people and not to themselves. So just understand, whenever you're frustrated and you start blaming somebody or you start blaming whatever you're blaming holds the power. So do you really want the Jiu-Jitsu Academy or an instructor to hold power over what you have say so in your life? Probably don't. So just know that you starting to take ownership, you determining what you should be training, why you should be training it, what you should be focusing on, and using your Jiu-Jitsu Academy and training partners as resources to help build you up for your own unique Jiu-Jitsu is the purpose of the Academy. It's not to hold your hand. It's not to sit there and say kumbaya. It's not even really there to give you a pep talk. That is really up to you. Your job is to use the resources that are provided for you inside of the Academy. Because if you're wanting to train Jiu-Jitsu for lifelong, the more that you have ownership and the more that you can take over that power, better you will be and the longer you will stay on the mat. I guarantee that. Big one is radical accountability. Okay, you guys need to be accountable for your own actions. You either need to find an accountability partner, have a support system that is behind you to keep you training in Jiu-Jitsu. Often I know Jiu-Jitsu is usually dominated by men, so men have manly things. They don't like to tell men their feelings. They don't like to tell them, ask for help. Find a training partner who can hold you accountable. Set a set schedule and be disciplined, and don't let other influences come out. I'm not a big fan of always having to check in on students because I feel like I'm doing you a disservice. Now, I will check in on you a couple of times if you're a student of mine, but it's not my job to make sure that you make it to black belt. That is your job. If I had to drag you there kicking and screaming, then I'm doing you a disservice, and you're not a child. You guys are grown adults. I'll check on you. I'll say, hey, how you doing? Let me know when you want to train. But ultimately, you have to take the initiation and the action steps to actually showing up to the gym, staying on task, asking questions, being curious, having the white belt mindset, wanting to improve 1%, killing the imposter syndrome, taking ownership. All of those things are developing enough skill sets of radical accountability. Start focusing on one of these mindsets at a time and start making slight improvements every day. And I guarantee you, you will set yourself up for lifelong success. Thank you guys for making it to the end of another video. I know this was a little bit more mindset, maybe a little bit more motivational talk, but often that's what we need in Jiu-Jitsu. There's a million techniques and a million instructionals, but sometimes how someone communicates mindset or kind of accountability or motivation might land with you differently than it does with somebody else. If you guys are looking for more help, make sure you fill out an application to work with me in my program. This is actually a big way to hold students accountable. I have students who join my program all the time that are feeling less motivated, less unsure. But one of the biggest things that I can do is teach them how to take ownership of their jiu-jitsu. One of those mindsets, but it includes everything else that we talked about today. But I give you the step-by-step action guide with me guiding you through it on how to actually take ownership and what that actually looks like. So if you guys are interested in getting more information, make sure you visit the link down below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.